Hello. Welcome to these candidate forums presented by the League of Women Voters of Tacoma-Pierce County through TV Tacoma. I am Liz Kernitz-Thurlow of the League of Women Voters. Both Bailey Wambold, also of the League, and I will be moderating these forums, and we are happy to be once again working with TV Tacoma. The League of Women Voters of Tacoma-Pierce County wishes to acknowledge that we live on the ancestral lands of the Coast Salish peoples, surrounded by their traditional waters in the shadow of Mount Tahoma. We actively seek inclusive and respectful partnerships that honor Indigenous cultures, histories, identities, and current realities. The general election is Tuesday, November 4th. All ballots in their signed envelopes must be in drop boxes or postmarked by 8 p.m. on November 4th. Our vote is our voice. Please use yours. In this year's general election, we will be electing a new mayor, 4 Tacoma City Council seats, at-large position 6, and council districts 2, 4, and 5, 1 position on the Tacoma Civil Service Board, 1 Tacoma School District Number 1 Director, 3 Port of Tacoma Commissioners, positions 1, 2, and 4, 3 positions on the Metropolitan Park District of Tacoma, a Pierce County Council District 5 representative, and a new Pierce County Charter Review Commission. We do not interview candidates for Charter Review or Pierce County Council on this program. This is a big, important election. Don't forget to vote. If you're not yet a registered voter, you can register at the Pierce County Auditor's Office or at public libraries. Because we are the League and nonpartisan, we will not present forums when only 1 candidate would attend. Our forums are covering Port Position 4, Tacoma Mayor, Tacoma Council at-large Position 6, and Tacoma Council 2 and 4, and all 3 Parks District races. Please watch these forums, read your voters' pamphlet, check candidates' websites and news organizations, attend forums at which candidates are speaking, and make yourself an educated voter. Bailey Wambold and I will both be moderating forums, some separately, some together. Questions have been prepared by Bailey, me, and other members of the League of Women Voters of Tacoma-Pierce County. The general election is on Tuesday, November 4th. You may mail your ballot or put it in a drop box. Be sure to get it in a drop box or postmarked by 8 p.m. on that night. And please, don't forget to vote. Welcome to this forum for Tacoma City Council District 5. The candidates are Joe Bushnell and Zev Cook. Thank you both for being here. The candidates have agreed to our ground rules. They will not comment on or interrupt each other, right? I'm Liz Kernitz-Thurlow, moderating for the League of Women Voters of Tacoma-Pierce County and TV Tacoma. Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th. Your ballot in its signed envelope must be in a ballot drop box or postmarked by 8 p.m. on that day. Please vote. If you're watching this forum, you probably are someone who will vote. If you're not yet a registered voter, you can register at the Pierce County Elections Office or at public libraries through Election Day. Tacoma has 5 geographical council districts who each elect 1 council member and 3 at-large seats which are elected by the whole city. This year, we select representatives from 3 of the districts and 1 of the at-large seats, and a mayor. We begin with opening statements, up to 2 minutes long, in ballot order, so Joe Bushnell will give the first opening statement.
mic. Oh, there it is. Hello, and thank you so much for the opportunity to participate in this forum. I really appreciate all the time and effort and the volunteering that you all do to do this. My name is Joe Bushnell, and I'm proud to represent the City of Tacoma in District 5, which is South Tacoma, South End, a little bit of East Side Tacoma. And I have been born and raised in the city of Tacoma. I am a graduate of Stadium High School, go Tigers. I have also spent over a decade in the Marine Corps prior to my time on the council. One of the big reasons why I decided to volunteer to join the city council is because of my love for this city. I, have been born and raised here. I came back here and couldn't wait to get back after the Marine Corps. And, I'm raising, I want to raise a family here as well. And I'm really excited about the progress we've made in the city, but there's still a lot of challenges that we're working towards, working to work on in the future. And including right now, economic development is certainly still a challenge. We need stronger wages for the city of Tacoma. We also need to build more housing across the board, including affordable housing across our city. There's still too many people that are not able to afford to live in Tacoma. And we also need to really work on improving public safety. There's a lot of challenges around public safety, and I look at public safety as certainly police are a part of that, but also community engagement as well as community building is a part of that larger pie. And so we need to make sure that we're looking at public safety in all its aspects and making sure everybody feels safe in their own homes and in the ability to go out and go to businesses or community centers and enjoy parks and things of that nature. And so I'm really excited to continue to serve if the voters will have me in the next 4 years, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Zev Cook.
My name is Zev Cook. I'm running for the Tacoma City Council District 5. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum. I got involved in community organizing in 2018 here in Tacoma, mostly around my Jewish values of tikkun olam and wanting to be a part of community repair. I spent 5 years working in this community mostly around issues of housing and homelessness, including working professionally as a case manager and then a shelter manager. That experience really showed me how much needed change at the policy level in order to build a community and city where housing truly is a human right. In 2023, I got involved with founding the organization Tacoma for All and played a leading role in our ballot initiative for the Tenant Bill of Rights to create some of the strongest renter protections in the state of Washington right here in Tacoma for relocation assistance and eviction protections to help keep working families in their homes, even in the face of massive rent spikes. Last year, in 2024, I was a rank and file member of United Food and Commercial Workers, Local 367, working at Safeway, and worked with my union to lay the groundwork for this year's Workers' Bill of Rights campaign to raise Tacoma's minimum wage and create other critical workplace protections. This year, I'm proud to be running for the City Council as a Democratic Socialist to help build a local government and economy that works for working people. That means taking on issues like passing our Workers' Bill of Rights to raise the minimum wage, creating a progressive tax structure in Tacoma to make sure everyone pays their fair share, and building permanently affordable social housing to help combat our housing crisis here in Tacoma and make sure that this remains a city where families who work here can afford to live here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. By the way, our timekeeper is Terry Baker. Thank you, Terry. Now we move to questions. As we rotate the order each time, Zev Cook will answer the first question first. Homelessness. What do we need to do, and how will you help us do it? Yes, it's a huge question, but you only get 2 minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you. So homelessness is absolutely a huge issue for our community. This is an area that I have professional and community experience in. And I think that what it really comes down to is we need housing to solve homelessness in Tacoma. Now, at the top level, I think that we need to make sure that we open up permanently affordable options, not just for low-income families, but for the workforce as well. That means building permanently affordable social housing here in Tacoma. Now, when it comes to street homelessness, there's more that we need to do as well. We've, as a city, have wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars on buying boulders and renting fences, money that could be spent to help keep low barrier and shelters open for our street homeless community. Now, in the past year alone, we've already lost hundreds of shelters beds to a lack of funding and cuts at the city level. I think that we need to reinvest in keeping shelter options open, as well as opening up more options for transitional housing and permanently supportive housing that has been shown to help keep people housed permanently going forward and get people back to being stable again. These are the kind of options that I believe that we can invest in when we take on issues like progressive funding in the city of Tacoma and progressive taxation to make sure that everyone's paying their fair share into the system, especially in an era of Trump. We need to be taking on issues that help Trump-proof our communities so that we can fund our own programs here in Tacoma and make sure that we can keep those options available. On top of that, we also need to take on issues like fully funding our non-police crisis response team to make sure that folks have the services that they need on the ground when they are in crisis. And we need to maintain and expand renter protections in the city of Tacoma to make sure that we can keep families in their homes rather than seeing expansions to our homeless community. I think all of these things can help lead to building a future where housing is a human right here in Tacoma.
Thank you. And we could certainly spend our entire time talking about it. Joe Bushnell.
Thank you. Thank you for asking this question. I really believe that any solutions around homelessness should be centered around the people that are most impacted, which includes working with the folks that are homeless, either on the street or in their vehicles. There's a large amount of population that's also couch surfing, maybe staying with friends. Making sure that they have the opportunities to have a great job, have the opportunity to get their own home or a safe place to stay. I really believe in housing first as a solution. That includes tiny home villages. I supported 3 different tiny home villages, including a veteran shelter, emergency shelter within the district. And I attended those meetings regularly, as well as joined with the different volunteer groups out there. We really need to make sure that we're taking a passionate approach to supporting those experiencing homelessness and finding ways to get them the opportunities and support they need. The reality is the city of Tacoma has taken on the lion's share of housing services and housing and services for folks experiencing homelessness. And I really think that this is a much larger issue that needs to be taken on by the county in a much more regional approach. There are folks that come from all over the place that need help. And, in Tacoma, we are very compassionate people and we want to help as much as we can. And so we really need to look at addressing mental health, addiction issues, as well as giving people the opportunities and jobs that they need in order to sustain themselves. And we have to do that in a regional way. I'm really proud to be working with the Unified Regional Approach, in which is some changes at the county have allowed for a much more regional look at this, and I've been attending regular committee meetings to look at a more regional approach and how the different jurisdictions around us and the city of Tacoma can play a role in supporting those experiencing homelessness and finding a solution that works for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. The city has a huge budget deficit. One of you is currently on the council, one is not. You can talk about how it got so bad if you wish, but please spend most of your time on what we need to do about it now. You have up to 2 minutes, and Joe Bushnell, you're first.
Thank you. The budget deficit, when I first got into council, was around $24 million. And during this last biennium, we were able to slash that by nearly in half. There's still projected to be another $15 million deficit in the next biennium, and that could be worse depending on different legislation that passes or or cuts to federal funding and things of that nature. It's really important that we have a really good financial sustainability for the city of Tacoma, and I was one of the leaders in trying to address our budget deficit during this last budget cycle, and I wanted to address it as much as possible, as early as possible, because I knew that chances are that there's going to be some sort of economic downturn. There's a lot of indicators that are showing that, but then we are also seeing some lower than expected revenues due to sales taxes. And we need to make sure that we're looking at trying to preserve our services as much as possible, preserve our employees as much as possible, and also make sure we have healthy reserves going into the future, because we don't know what is going to be cut additionally. Depending on which way the federal government decides to go, the state's also having budget issues. And then also we need to continue working with our partners like parks and schools, because there are some things that we help them fund as well. So we need to really have some tough conversations with our partners. At the end of the day, it's really important that we have financially sustainable and fiscally sustainable revenue sources. I've really been trying hard to work with the state to have more progressive taxation at the municipal level. A lot of folks may not know, but we are very limited in what we can and can't tax at the city level, and it's very heavily regulated by state regulation. And so I really want to work with the state to try and find ways to make it more equitable on how we tax here in the city of Tacoma.
Thank you. Zev Cook.
The budget crisis is a major issue for our city, especially when it comes to being able to fund capital development as well as critical services like our fire department. Now, when it comes to those issues, last year, the city council tried to pass a levy to fund our fire department. That levy failed because it wanted to raise sales taxes, which is a regressive tax that puts the burden on working families at a time when that burden is already so high on working Tacomans already. This year, the city council tried to pass a second sales tax levy to fund our roads here in Tacoma and development on that front. That also failed for the same reasons. Now, when it comes to funding projects like filling potholes in our city, making sure our roads are safe, funding our critical services like our fire department, we can't come back to the same failed ideas over and over again. We have to fight for progressive revenue here in the city of Tacoma. Now, we need to get creative around doing that, but it's absolutely possible to pass progressive taxation to tax the rich in Tacoma right now. We did it in Seattle with the payroll tax, and we can do it here in Tacoma with a payroll tax, with things like capital expansions to the state capital gains tax and other creative solutions. But what we can't do is keep on going back to the same playbook that's failed over and over again. Now, I believe that when we are able to do this, that we will be able to fund development projects here in the city of Tacoma. On top of that, we should open up a public bank and capitalize a public bank here in Tacoma to make sure that we can fund and capitalize development projects at lower interest rates than are offered by public or by private institutions, to make sure that we can continue to fund that expansion in the way we need.
Thank you. Okay, Zev Cook, you will be first now, and you will have up to 60 seconds. Do you support the idea of a $20 minimum wage? Why or why not?
I absolutely support the idea of a $20 minimum wage. I have been on the organizing committee for the Workers' Bill of Rights ballot initiative campaign since the beginning. I think this is a critical issue to our community, to make sure that everyone in Tacoma has a living wage and the other workplace protections that they absolutely need. I think it's, important that we pass this, and I think that's been shown by the fact that we were able to collect 10,000 signatures here in Tacoma to be able to place it on the ballot. I think it's a travesty that the city council chose to, instead of putting it forward to a fair vote of the people, tried to get it struck from the ballot entirely, which in my opinion spits in the face of 10,000 working Tacomans who signed our ballot initiative. When it comes to this issue, I absolutely support a living wage for Tacoma, and as a council member, I would always give the people the democratic choice to create the future that they want for our city.
Thank you. Joe Bushnell.
Thank you. I do support raising the minimum wage to $20 an hour, and I was a part of supporting the raising of the minimum wage to 15 now back at a statewide level several years ago. I think it's really important that we raise their wage because there's so many people that have fallen behind. Wages have not kept up with inflation, and the cost of living in Tacoma is too high. It is really important that we are supporting families and folks all across the board and providing as much economic opportunity for everybody to be able to better themselves and to have better wages across the board. That's why it's a really important that we support bringing local small businesses to build here in Tacoma, as well as trying to entice other additional businesses to bring strong wages to the city of Tacoma. And I've been focused very hard on that for the last 4 years and will continue to do so.
Thank you. Okay, Joe Bushnell, you're up now. Do you have a plan to make housing and rentals more affordable? And if so, what, and what should we be doing? And you can have up to 90 seconds.
Absolutely. Yes. So we are currently in the process of implementing our Home in Tacoma 2, which has really dramatically changed our zoning policy across this board. And so we'll need to continue to monitor that and make adjustments as needed based on real world impacts. That really opens up a lot of land within the city of Tacoma for more development, which in turn brings more supply, which helps to reduce the lack of supply that we do currently have. I've also been working with my colleagues on MFTE, which is the multifamily tax exemption. We're actually in the process of updating it right now, and I'm co-sponsoring an amendment to the MFTE that includes making our 8-year MFTE require home ownership instead of it being rental properties to bolster more home ownership opportunities across the board. And then going back to Home in Tacoma 2, I also supported some amendments that made it easier for home ownership, as well as different lot types being able to utilize DADUs, which are detached accessory dwelling units. So that way everybody has a bunch of different housing types that they could, at different price points that they would be able to afford.
Thank you. Zev Cook.
Yeah, over the past decade, the city has developed a major housing crisis here in Tacoma. That's just on supply and also affordability. Our two major tools to combat that, especially in the past couple of years, have been opening up zoning and multifamily tax exemption. Now, I think that opening up zoning is absolutely important and something I support, but when it comes to development, we can't just rely on the private market. We have to make major public investments in a social housing developer here in Tacoma to create permanently affordable housing stock. Now, with our multifamily tax exemptions, those are corporate giveaways that, you know, maybe we'll get some affordable units in the short term, but after those credits expire, those units go back up to market rate, and we've spent all this taxpayer money to end up with nothing in the long term. Investing in a social housing developer here in Tacoma would help us build up our stock of permanently affordable options to make sure that this remains a city that is affordable for working families. Now, on top of that, we also need to open up a public bank here in Tacoma to be able to capitalize those projects and make sure that we can expand our housing stock at the level that we need to meet the gap. Now, there is a major gap between where the private market is and what we need, and we should be able to fill that with major public investment in a social housing developer.
Thank you. Okay. There is major dissatisfaction with the Tacoma Police Department. There are problems with street racing and speeding, property crimes, garbage dumping, theft, violent crimes as well, and we need a new police chief. In 90 seconds, please deal with as much of this as you can and how we fix it. Zev Cook.
Absolutely. Yeah, so one of the things that I think that is critical to our public safety plan here in Tacoma is fully funding our non-police crisis response team. This model has been shown to not only meet people with the services that they really need, but also take work off the plate of the police department so that we can increase response times and other critical areas. On top of that, I think that when I think about public safety, our schools are a huge issue right now. We have many schools where there are no blinds in the classroom, where there are no locking doors. In 2025, that cannot be the case here in our community if we want a safe environment for our children to learn. These are simple issues that can be funded and fixed with the right investments. On top of that, I think that we need stronger democratic oversight of our police department. Last year, through the charter review process, an appointed commission by the city council put forward a recommendation for how we could make our police department more accountable to our community, and the city council voted against putting that to the ballot. As a member of our city council, I would move that to the ballot and give voters the chance to make a real decision about what public safety looks like here in Tacoma, because I think protecting democracy is a major responsibility of our city council.
Thank you. Joe Bushnell.
Thank you. Public safety has been a prime concern for me, and while I've been in office, we've managed to reduce response times by 22 minutes, which is pretty significant. I have also been on the ground organizing some of our businesses and residents in some of our high crime areas, including South Hosmer Street. 8820 South Hosmer Street was our highest violent crime location in the city by far when I first took office. And I worked with our police department, the other city departments, the community at the ground level, going door to door to the businesses and the residents over there to find solutions to improve the nature of that street. I'm happy to say that there's been significant reductions in violent crime and other different crimes in that area. And we now have trunk or treats that we do every year, and come to the next one, which will be in October. I had a young boy come up to me and told me that he never thought he would ever be able to trick or treat in his own neighborhood. And that really signaled to me that we have accomplished a lot. And I want to continue to do that kind of work across the board. We still have challenges with street racers up and down Pacific Avenue, South Tacoma Way, and also for folks doing burnouts around the Fern Hill neighborhood and the Manitou neighborhood, honestly all over the district. It's really important that we utilize tools to hold people accountable for their actions, because it is extremely dangerous, including technology like speed cameras and red light cameras and things of that nature in order to hold folks accountable for their actions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 60 seconds, and Joe Bushnell is first. Do you have plans to improve economic opportunities for young people? If so, what?
Yes, so one of the big, I'm actually the youngest council member, and so it's been really important to me to be engaged with our young people across the board. I also did some substitute teaching while I was on council for the first couple of years. Had the opportunity to talk with elementary schoolers, middle schoolers, and high schoolers throughout the district. And it's been really important to me to bring them into city government. I have had a shadow with me every single summer while I've been on council. I'm the only council member that does that, to show them what it's like to be on this side of the dais and what's going on in the background. And I really support what's called Jobs 253, which is a youth employment program with the city. And we bring in interns to the city at my behest now as well. And we also support job opportunities and apprenticeships and things of that nature across the board to support our youth being able to slide into a new job if they choose to after high school, or be able to have the tools they need to succeed in college or other education opportunities. So it's been very important to me, and I've also been in the classroom quite a bit talking with young people.
Thank you. Sev Cook.
Yeah, I'm running for council as a 26-year-old, and for folks in my age bracket, we've been constantly told that, we'll never be able to afford a home, and many of us are scraping by on 1, 2, even 3 jobs. For me, what's critical is creating stronger workplace protections here in Tacoma. Raising the minimum wage would make such an impact for so many young people and folks in my age group. I think that beyond that, I will be here tomorrow at council chambers to advocate for more investment in capital funding around the arts. We need to make sure that we are creating opportunities at the city level to open more small businesses and nonprofits that employ young people and especially support our art scene here in Tacoma. I think there's more that can be done at the city level to make public investments that can open up more job opportunities and also protect low-wage workers where they're at.
Thank you. Okay, what are your plans to provide as many shelter beds as needed in Tacoma? I was going to say 60 seconds, but make it 2 minutes and throw in homelessness on a bigger scale also, please. Zev Cook.
Yeah, so again, homelessness is a major issue for our community. I think that generally the city's policy of the camping ban here in Tacoma has failed immensely, and I think that's obvious to most residents of our city. I talked to one voter recently at the door who said that he supported that policy when it passed, but he's seen a local encampment near his home be swept and then come back within 6 months. I think that what we need to be focused on is actually creating options so folks don't have to be coming back to the same place where they've been previously. And that means opening up more options for shelter, for transitional housing, and permanent supportive housing. I absolutely believe in a housing first model. Now, in the past year, we've lost hundreds of shelter beds that have been closed by the city. This is an area where we need to reinvest and we need to stop wasting money on enforcing a failed camping ban policy. That's money that could be put into keeping shelter beds open, opening up new tiny home villages and low barrier options that will actually put people on the path to recovery and into stability. Now, on top of that, we need to protect our tenant protections to make sure that we can stem the flow of individuals into homelessness. This is something that I worked on in 2023 when we passed the Tenant Bill of Rights, and it's something that I helped advocate for at the state level when rent stabilization was passed earlier this year. There's more that we need to do on that front to make sure that when we can get people back into housing, those options are stable. One of my experiences as a case manager here in Tacoma was that, helping people get back into housing was so difficult, especially when there were so many barriers to renting, and we need to make sure we maintain those protections.
Thank you.
Thank you. So there's a lot of challenges around homelessness and trying to support folks and get them the support that they need. And as I talked about earlier, we need to be taking a much more regional approach to this. I'm proud to say that the city of Tacoma has recently worked with the Tacoma Rescue Mission to expand their sheltering. It's going to nearly double their capacity. And, I've been a big supporter of different types of emergency shelters across the city, including low barrier site, where people can come as they are. And we've had multiple tiny home villages and emergency shelters within District 5. Really comes down to funding is a very large challenge, and the unified regional approach that we are working on is going to be tackling funding at a larger level to see what we'll be able to put into as a city, what we'll be able to put into as a county, and what other local jurisdictions, Lakewood, Fife and others might be able to put into to have a more organized and regional approach. Kind of trying to do a scatter shot and having Tacoma foot the bill is very difficult position for the city to be in because we only have so much revenues and there's a lot of need out there. And so it's really important that we're working together with everybody to support folks that are experiencing homelessness and get them off the street. And so I'm going to be a big proponent of continuing to support our emergency shelters and getting funding from the state. We recently got several $1 million in order to keep some sheltering open from the state, and I appreciate that from them. But we also need to continue to maintain those shelters as much as we can, and then also expand if possible where we can as well. And again, we have to look at this as a regional issue. It's not just a Tacoma issue. And these folks, they don't know borders. Borders don't matter to them. They go to where they can get the support they need. And I'm happy that we as Tacoma are compassionate and are supporting people, but we have to be able to do it all together.
Thank you. Okay, so Joe Bushnell will be first. See if you can do it in a minute. Tacoma police have jurisdiction over crimes committed in the Northwest Detention and now ICE Processing Center. Apparently, over 10 years, there have been no prosecutions. Victims and witnesses don't get interviewed, et cetera. Is there anything that you think we can do about that or that you will try to do?
Yes, so I think this is an extremely problematic issue, and I don't actually necessarily blame the Tacoma Police Department for that. I think that the issues go beyond the city of Tacoma. We are prohibited from accessing a federal government site, and so if that is not allowed to happen, then investigations, prosecutions aren't going to be able to happen. And so we really need to be looking with our federal partners to allow for those investigations to take place and hold folks accountable for their actions. And if it's happening in the city of Tacoma, that needs to be dealt with here as well. And so I think it's extremely appalling that those things have been going on.
Thank you. Zev Cook?
I think we should be doing everything that we can to shut down the Northwest Detention Center in general. The situation is an absolute human rights disaster. I think that, instead of trying to look for ways to close this center down, what I've seen from the city is more action around trying to curtail the activity of activists outside of the detention center. I think that that's something that needs to end, and I think the city should be on the front lines of advocacy when it comes to looking to shut down the Northwest Detention Center and curtail the activity of ICE in kidnapping our neighbors. I think that also looks like, as a city council member, for me, if I were to be on council, not just being a legislator, but being a community organizer, and as I have been, being out on the front lines, confronting ICE and confronting any attacks on our immigrant or any other vulnerable community here in Tacoma.
Thank you. This will be the last question. Zev Cook will answer it first. And 2 minutes, a little more if you absolutely need it. What are the 1 or 2 biggest problems facing Tacoma that we haven't talked about today, and what are you going to do about them?
Absolutely. Yeah, so one of the issues that is really close to my heart is, as a trans woman running for public office here in Tacoma, is multicare and the Children's Hospital cutting off gender-affirming care to trans youth in our community. There is currently a federal injunction on this activity, but Multicare has decided to withdraw care anyways, despite no legal necessity at this time. I think that this is an absolute travesty for our community, and healthcare is a human right for all of us. I have been out on the front lines of this issue, organizing rallies, organizing pickets at the hospital, talking to union workers, talking to lawyers about what we can do to fix this, and as well lobbying our council and our legislature about how we can do more at the level of legislation to protect trans youth in our community. That's definitely something that would continue to be very important to me as a member of our city council. Beyond that, what I think is the biggest issue for our city is just the absolute cost of living crisis here in Tacoma. And the fact that, in the era of Trump, we need people who aren't just legislators, we need organizers. That's the perspective that I bring to our city that is unique amongst our city council. I've been an organizer in Tacoma, helping take on and win against corporate interests over and over again, whether it was on helping pass our Tenant Bill of Rights here in Tacoma, or this year working on our Workers' Bill of Rights to raise Tacoma's minimum wage and create other critical workplace protections. I would bring the experience of standing up to corporate interests and fighting for working people to our city council.
Thank you. Joe Bushnell.
Thank you. So I was born and raised in the city of Tacoma, but my mother actually came to the United States as a refugee back in the 80s from Cambodia, fleeing the Cambodian genocide. And that really shaped my worldview and how I see service to others. I really believe in service to others as one of the highest callings a person can make, and that's one of the core tenets of my personal beliefs. And the reason why I bring that up is because I'm the first Cambodian American ever elected in the state of Washington. And with that, I really take it as a mandate upon me to support my Cambodian community, as well as the larger ANHPI community, because in a lot of spaces, there's a lack of representation. And representation really matters to me, and that's part of why I had brought students in to shadow me every single summer. They are of ANHPI descent, so that way they have the opportunities and access and can see what a future could look like, either in public policy or in other ways. I also, as a Marine Corps veteran, am looking to support our veterans in the city of Tacoma. We have one of the largest military bases in the world here at JBLM, and I feel like that the city of Tacoma could play a bigger role in that. I'm really proud to be the chair of the Military Communities Council of the National League of Cities, where I've taken a lead role in supporting veterans and others in the city of Tacoma, as well as nationally. And then also critically, there are challenges around access to pharmacies and food insecurity in our community that are really top of mind and high issues for me that we need to continue to work on. When I was on the South Tacoma Neighborhood Council, it was something I've been advocating for, especially pharmacies, because we do have a lack of pharmacies in the South Tacoma area, as well as now in the South End area as different Walgreens have shut down, the Fred Meyer has shut down. And we need to make sure that people have access to their medications as well as healthy food for themselves and their families. So those are things that I'm going to be continuing to work on.
Thank you. Thank you both. Now we come to closing statements, for which you have 1 minute, and which are in reverse ballot order. So Zev Cook will make the first closing statement.
Thank you. Again, my name is Zev Cook. I'm running for the Tacoma City Council, District 5. I'm proud to be doing it as a democratic socialist to help build a local government and economy that works for working people. We're in a time where the cost of living has never been higher, and our communities, especially our immigrant community, our trans community, are under attack by a fascist Trump administration. I think this is a time that requires not just legislators who are going to maintain the status quo, but real organizers and activists who know how to get out into the community, how to work with our union movement and working people to help fight for our interests and empower the community to represent ourselves. That means taking on issues together, like raising our minimum wage, taxing the rich, and building permanently affordable social housing. I believe that when we come together and fight for working people, that we can win on these issues and build a Tacoma that will be permanently affordable for working families who make their life here.
Thank you. Joe Bushnell.
Thank you. Again, my name is Joe Bushnell, and I'm running for re-election for City Council District 5. And it's been an honor to serve the city of Tacoma of a lifetime, and I really want to continue to serve our community. We've made a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of challenges ahead of us. And with this federal administration and the Trump administration and everybody else that's causing a lot of problems, it's really important, more important than ever, that we have experienced leadership on this council at both a national, regional, and local level. I'm proud to have the endorsements of Mayor Victoria Woodards, Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland, the Pierce County Central Labor Council, the South Sound Building Construction Trades Council, as well as the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District 481, I believe. And I really appreciate the support of the many volunteers and donors and everybody else that has helped me in the last 4 years and as well as now. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. With us in this forum were Zev Cook and Joe Bushnell, who are candidates for Tacoma City Council 5th District. This will be on your ballot if you live in Tacoma's 5th District. The election is November 4th. You should receive your ballot around October 18th. On behalf of TV Tacoma, the League of Women Voters of Tacoma-Pierce County, and myself, thank you for watching and becoming an educated voter. Please don't forget to use that vote.